What's up, buttercups? Today we are going to talk about my Pluto in the 5th house, friends, and how this placement manifests in their lives. So if you are new to astrology or just beginning your journey, then no worries. If you need to find out where your Pluto is in your birth chart, then head on over to astro.com. Click the extended charts button and type in your birth information, and it will tell you what house your Pluto is in. Now, in order to figure out where your Pluto is, you will need your birth time. So if you have Pluto in the 5th house, then you are my little creative transformer. So let's break this down. What even is Pluto in astrology? Well, Pluto represents transformation, the death and rebirth process, things that we obsess about, power and control. Pluto rules extremes, intensity, even manipulation. It is the planet of the underworld and taboo. It rules destruction and upheaval. So what is the 5th house in astrology? Well, the 5th house is known as the house of pleasure, receiving pleasure from creating something or someone. It is the house of children, which means it can represent your children or how you interact with children or your childhood or even your memory of childhood, how you played as a child, how you play as an adult. It is a fun house. It is the house of casual dating and gambling. So what happens when you mix the planet of transformation with the house of creativity and fun? Well, remember, Pluto is here to teach you things, and Pluto does this by first taking your power away from you, and then you are exposed to experiences that slowly allow you to gain this power back so that it lasts. Now, Pluto is the last planet in the solar system, so it receives the least amount of light from the sun. It can represent dark things like your shadow side. And the 5th house, ironically enough, is ruled by Leo, which is connected to the sun. So what happens when the darkest planet is in the brightest house? Well, typically you find that someone with Pluto in their 5th house comes into this life with an almost primal desire to be great, to achieve their own greatness, whatever that may represent to them. They want to stand out and to get the attention that they feel they deserve. They know, sometimes even as a child, that they are different, that there is something special about them. They just might not realize what their mission is when they are younger, but they still will know that there is something about them that is different than the rest. They will have a nagging feeling throughout their life that they came here for something to accomplish in this lifetime. Now, what makes them special and what they came here to accomplish will depend a lot on the rest of the chart. You will have to look at the whole chart to see how this may play out. But during this lifetime, the soul of someone with Pluto in the 5th house will need to find some type of talent to be recognized for. Some will know what this talent is at a young age, and some will find it later. So with Pluto in the 5th house, it can really manifest in 2 different ways, and it's based on the environment that the child had when growing up. Now, you can determine the environment by looking at early childhood of this person. What type of encouragement was received by the parents or the family members regarding creative talents? Possibly even from teachers. Were you encouraged to pursue your creative talents, or were you criticized or overlooked or misunderstood with them? Some children with Pluto in the 5th house are born to creative parents that foster the child's love of art or singing or dancing, and they get the child the support he or she needs. And then there's some children with Pluto in the 5th house that are born to parents that don't see what the point of creativity is, or they think it's a waste of time, or they think that there's a one-size-fits-all with creativity, and they can judge or criticize maybe the child's artwork or writing, something like that. So this placement can create a fear in children where they know that they are talented and it has a purpose, but it was shunned by someone. So the child begins to kind of have a fear of expressing their creativity. Now, when I talk about creative energy, I'm talking about things like dancing, writing, painting, sculpting, working in fashion, playing instruments, acting, singing, etc. There's so many things to list, but you get the idea. So someone with this placement can obsess over artistic hobbies, and they may find them hard to put down at times because they can become so consumed with them. Okay, anyways, with this placement, you're either going to grow up with a supporting environment of the things that you like, or one that does not support you, okay? So let's say you grow up in the environment that supports your creativity and you really like to dance. And as a child, you were put into dance classes that foster your love to dance. And after some time, you develop the confidence to start creating your own routines and you become a choreographer. You know, Pluto is also the planet of obsession. So you could obsess over dance, always wanting to learn or to get better. You may grow up and even own your own dance studio. Just sounds like the perfect life, right? Well, someone with this aspect may receive success, even early success. But once they master this, they begin to feel unfulfilled. Also, I will say with this placement, sometimes you find a person that is a great actor, singer, writer, and dancer. I mean, they literally can choose lots of different careers when it comes to arts. It comes very natural to them. You know, Will Smith has this placement, and look, he's been an actor, he's been a singer, even a comedian. Lady Gaga has this placement, and she sings, acts, and dances. I mean, these are some creative little souls. So someone that has really fostered their creative talent their whole life may find success, but still feel unfulfilled in some way. You know, the 5th house is the house of fun and risk-taking and casual hookups. So it's possible that these children grow up and look back on their life, especially after their Saturn return, and feel like they kind of missed out on some experiences that others may have had because they were so focused on their creative endeavor. You know, Pluto is ruled by Scorpio, and Scorpio is associated with sacrifice. So it's almost as though these children sacrifice their childhood or early adulthood by feeling like they did not get the same experiences as other children. Things like maybe that contained risk or adventure. So now let's go to the opposite environment growing up, okay? These children naturally get a sense of their self pretty early. You know, Leo is the sign connected to the ego. So it's very possible that they have developed a creative ego early in life, so to speak. But let's say this manifests where the creativity is blocked in some way, whether that is through criticism or judgment, or maybe the parents just don't understand the importance of art. If this happens, then things can get a little messy when puberty hits, because what you have is a really creative child who doesn't have the capability to express this energy. So the energy is just sitting there with nowhere to go. So they may channel this energy towards romantic partners, because you can create a lot of things with another person. You can create another human, a family, create a business. It doesn't just have to be art. And with Pluto being the planet of obsession, they can obsess about romantic partners or look for partners who can validate them because they couldn't be validated as a child. They may feel the need to be made worthy by a partner. They may even draw in partners who have issues with control or secrets. So channeling this energy to romantic partners can develop into bad habits. Now, this doesn't always happen, but it has the potential because it is there. Now, this is a powerful creative energy within those that are born with Pluto in the 5th house. So people with this placement can like adventures or thrills or risk-taking or casual encounters or even gambling. All of those things reside in this house. So you can get all of those things out of partners. So when this happens, your creative artwork may be put on the back burner while you pursue risk or the thrill. Now, if you go this route, you may learn lessons around relationships that are not actually being the one. And I say this because with this placement, it can be easy to create a fantasy with your partner. You already are a creative person, and you may have a vivid imagination that can create all kinds of scenarios with your partner. But your soul craves a stable, long-term relationship with this house. And it's also easy with somebody with this placement to just enjoy the funness of dating versus having the seriousness of a relationship. Now, I've actually read some charts of escorts that had this placement because they were in the middle of transmuting that thrill of casual hookups. It's not all that it's cracked up to be. And Pluto transmutes the dark energy into light, but you have to go through the experience to figure this all out. So someone with this placement may see sex as a risk or a sport, or even like to take gambles when it comes to sex. Also, they may be really good at sex because Pluto is all about sex, and Leo loves giving a good show or performance. So it's very possible that someone with this placement can get with people who have never experienced the performance that a Pluto in the 5th house can give them. Pleasure can be this person's addiction. They can crave excitement. So you can already tell how this is going to play out in the bedroom for them. Now, Pluto also can be very secretive. So this can manifest in someone who has Pluto in the 5th house being secretly creative. They may not outwardly show it. In fact, people around them actually may be shocked at how creative they are. Now, someone with this placement may be secretive out of fear of rejection, but also out of a fear that someone may steal their idea, or they may feel that they won't actually be held in high regards, or they won't get the recognition that they deserve. Remember, Pluto is here to transform, and Leo loves the spotlight. So it's very possible that these people are very secretive and eventually transform out of this. Now, they can also be very secretive about their casual relationships that they have, and they may kind of keep that stuff under wraps with very, very few people knowing about it. Now, when it comes to romantic partners, this person can attract obsessive partners, or they themselves can be obsessive. They may put others on a pedestal, or they may have someone that puts them on a pedestal. There's a teeter-totter in some of their relationships where if they're not careful, it can turn into an all or nothing type of relationship. They can attract clingy, or partners can be clingy, or they can be clingy. They just may attract very scorpionic partners, okay? So partners that may even stalk them after a relationship is over, or even stalk them during a relationship, or people that need help transforming themselves. Now, also, the 5th house is linked to children. So it's possible that children have the capability to transform you. Now, remember, Pluto is a very slow-moving planet. It is the farthest away from the sun. So it takes the longest to rotate around the sun. So you may find that children transform a person over a long period of time. So this can play out something like the person with this placement may be wanting to seek out a thrill and getting addicted to drugs in their teens, and maybe even having a child in their teens and actually having a broken relationship with their child. But then let's say that they have their Saturn return and start seeing things differently in life and sober up. they may transform their broken relationship with their child, or possibly have a child when they are really young and this child forces you to grow up and mature. You know, this is the place where Pluto will bring you challenges that will make you grow up. This can be a placement of what I call TikTok moms, okay? So you have a child young and it just transforms you with Pluto in the 5th house, and you like creating videos or expressing yourself as a mom. The ultimate goal is to express yourself and overcome the fears of judgment, rejection, and criticism. You know, people with this placement could very well be natural comedians, but just have a fear of expressing it. Also, I forgot to mention, someone with this placement may have a child with Plutonian qualities or Scorpio placements. It is very possible someone with this placement may want to control their children, but then they have a little Scorpio that is just not going to let that happen. It kind of reminds me of what my mom used to say when my daughter would act up, that I was going to get my payback. So Leo represents the ego, and it is very possible that these people were strong-willed as a child, but they may have struggled with authority, and it's very possible that in turn they have a strong-willed child. Now, interesting enough, Will Smith has Pluto in the 5th house, and look how he channeled his creative energy. He's been a musician, a rapper, a comedian, an actor. He was able to channel that creative energy in a lot of different ways. You know, he talks in his memoir of how he felt like a coward as a child and never wanted to feel that way again, and he began to overachieve, wanting to create and wanting to win. So you can see how that Pluto in the 5th house is manifesting. He knew he had potential. You can really see that Leo coming out with him wanting to win, and the 5th house coming out with the wanting to create. He stated that he created the Fresh Prince persona as a happy and joyful act to cover his lack of self-esteem. So he hid it even though he was actually feeling it. Again, Pluto is here to transform your ego and help grow your self-esteem so you are not afraid of expressing yourself. Also, you can see how he kept his insecurities a secret. That's a very Plutonian thing to do. Lady Gaga has this aspect, and it was said that she showed music ability at an early age. She even took music and acting classes during her childhood. During her teen years, she was writing songs and participating in school plays. So you can see where she became self-aware of all of her creative talents, and she had the environment to properly channel those talents into creative endeavors. Mariah Carey has this aspect, and she began singing at the age of 3. Now, in Mariah's memoir introduction, she writes that she wrote the book as a way to let the little scared girl within her out. So again, you can see that Pluto is here to transform the ego. She was nervous to write a book because she feared judgment by her family and what they may think. So you can see how someone with Pluto in the 5th is afraid to release their creative talents out of fear of judgment and may keep them a secret for a very long time. But in the end, they are able to transform that fear of expressing themselves and let it all out anyways. Also, you can look at Mariah Carey and see she's a writer, a singer, an actor. I mean, there's so many ways that she has channeled her creative energy. So the ultimate question to ask yourself if you have Pluto in the 5th is, what in my past is preventing me from expressing myself? Leave your comments below and let me know what is stopping you and what has stopped you from being able to express yourself fully. I put out astrology videos every Sunday, and right now we are completing a series of Pluto through the houses. I absolutely love creating these videos and connecting with others. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Mwah!